Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. So thank you for joining in, and then thank you, VMware VMwork Daily team, to inviting me to share my experience. So today, the discussion, we are going to have about the Cloud Foundation. So VMware Cloud Foundation, in short, we say VCF, and how VCF is helping customer to accelerate their private cloud or hybrid cloud journey. Right. This is going to be the discussion next 1 hour. So VCF basically, VCF vCloud Foundation is a hybrid cloud platform to build the software-defined data center. VCF enables customer to build consistent and secure infrastructure and provide the consistent and operations across private or public cloud. VCF also helps customer to increase the enterprising agility and flexibility with the hybrid cloud solution for customer to deliver full software-defined stack in weeks. If you go in the normal, a software-defined data center, if you want to build a complete data center, it takes months for you to design and deploy. But this is where VMware is helping to finish in a weeks instead of months. If I go in a little bit in history, so 20 years ago, when the VMware started with the vSphere, it was very hard to believe that it's going to sustain in the market. But today, millions of customers, right, are using the vSphere as a core of their data center. Same way, in a few years, VCF is going to be the new vSphere for customer. That's what we decided to discuss on this, because this is going to be the new vSphere for customer, so that many customer today using it or going to be used in the future. So this is what we're going to talk in next 1 hour. My name is Roshan Jha. I'm consultant based here in Singapore, PSO. So I'm basically covering the Southeast Asia and Korea. I'm for VMware vExpert. This is my Twitter, and then this is my VMware email address. So if maybe I will not be talk to each one of us connecting today. So if you have any question or later you want to connect, you can connect with my Twitter or my email address. I'm holding a wide range of certification, whether from the VMware or non-VMware. So I'm also certified on the multiple on AWS, Microsoft, and Cisco CCNA. I have been with the VMware now for almost 5 years here in Singapore, and then deliver almost projects in all countries within the SEAG, except Sri Lanka and then Korea. So I've experienced working in multiple countries within the SEAG over here. So agenda for today is going to be the first little bit. I'll touch upon the business, what is the IT needs today, why we need to be go with a sideway, and then quickly also overview on GDC as the VCF more focus is on software-defined data center. Right? So we will talk about that. Then what is the objectives of the VCF? We need a VCF. Then what are the design and deployment mode supported today with the VCF? We'll talk. And also any deployment consideration when you design and deploy the VCF, what are the things we need to take care when we do that? We'll talk about networking design supported with the VCF. So we will try to, because networking is again, in any design, this is one of the critical part. So we'll try to cover as many as I can do within this hour. And at the end, we'll also touch on the lifecycle management, normally, which is a day 2 perspective. So all top options, right? So is mainly for day 0 and day 1. And then also the VCF, how VCF is helping customer for day 2 perspective that I'll talk about. And at the end, I have a demo also ready. So I'll go and then demo about what we discussed. So we'll try to demo, we have multiple demos. So I'll try to demo, and then at the end, a Q&A. So if time permits, I'll try to cover within 1 hour. Let's start it. So before jumping on VCF, right? So I said I would like to discuss a little bit about the need of business. What typically business need today? So business today, right? So needs to roll out apps faster, respond quicker to a customer demand. In a way, provide them a new experiences with technology to achieve higher go-to-market values. That is the need of the business. That is demand of the business today. And provide choice for developers and respond quickly to their needs. This is what we are looking for. So, and also ensure security and then compliance to prevent attacks and then reduce the risk for your data center. And when we are considering all those aspects of the data center, and then what we need to deploy and manage all those automatically to have the agile way to deploy your data center. To address both our business and IT needs, a customer needs to have one integrated architecture which can fulfill business as well as IT needs by bringing together the benefits of public and hybrid clouds into private clouds into a hybrid cloud architecture. Also, the one architecture that can provide consistent and common infrastructure requesting private or public clouds. Provide common operations so there are no management silos. There will be unified management, whether you are running in the private or public clouds. And also provide consistent security that can stretch across all the environments. So to achieve all the required agility within the data center, you need to have a software-defined and fully API-driven solution. So this is where our discussion is going to be how can we provide, how VMware is helping in that way to provide this agile way of software-defined data center. So this is where the software-defined data center came into the reality. And then SDDC today became a need or demand for the business. We are talking about any industry, they need to have the software-defined data center to achieve the goal of their business. So in SDDC, all the infrastructure elements, whether compute, networking, storage, and security are virtualized and delivered as a service. Deployment, operation, provisioning, and then configuration are abstracted from the hardware. These tasks are implemented through the software intelligence. So VMware engineered one integrated architecture to address both business and IT needs, supporting whether you want to run the traditional application or you want to run the modern application. So used for both, so we have this software-defined data center, which is capable of supporting any kind of workload. So this is the architecture from the VMware for software-defined data center. As you can see on the screen, we have multiple components, right? So VMware SDDC customer, but a solution to build a software-defined data center, but how to design, how to deploy, how to operate for day 0 and day 2 perspective is the big challenge for customer. Because there are multiple products come together, designed together, deploying together, and then works as a whole software-defined data center. So also, if you see, right, so if you design something, how can we go and then validate it? That is the biggest challenge also. How can I make sure that if you are engaged someone to design and deliver some cloud for you, whether that has been deployed based on the agreed design, is it consistent and also aligned with the best practices, right? So this is the challenge. Also, that is the day 1 challenge. For day 2, patching, updating, upgrading, whether you want to manage your password, as you can see, there are so many products. So there will be so many passwords. So how can we have a centralized management password? How can we also go and if I'm using the, root CA, so how can we go and then have the certificate management for all the components? And then after that, right, expansion of the data center is complex. So if I need to expand it, whether within the cluster or multiple clusters, so if I have to again expand and then reconfigure it, that is the complex for the customer. So patching and upgrading can span, I have seen the customer, right? So where they plan for their patching and upgrading for whole stack, and that takes months for planning and then also for implementing. So those are the pinpoint has been addressed with the help of VCF, what we are going to talk today. So VMware Cloud Foundation, this is where the VMware engineered the VCF, VMware Cloud Foundation, and then VCF is a fully automated way to design and deploy software-defined data center. So VMware Cloud Foundation constructs unified software-defined data center platform that bundles with the vSphere. When we say vSphere, it's ESXi and vCenter, but also it's a vSAN for storage virtualization, and then NSX for network virtualization to deliver enterprise level cloud infrastructure. And also the VMware VCF can discover the hardware. So start from inception to the end of the delivery to move to the production, right? So VCF can help the customer. They can help you discover the hardware, helps you to install the ESXi, vCenter, vSAN, NSX as a core SDDC infrastructure. And then once you have core is ready, then you can go and add on the vRealize suite of products from the VMware to have the full stack of software-defined data center. Once you have done this one, right, so the VCF can also helps to manage, update, and perform lifecycle management for the whole software-defined data center. So VMware Cloud Foundation has been tested to ensure that all the components running within the data center, running the individual version of products are compatible together, work together, are scalable, and performs as expected. As we saw in the previous slides, we have so many products. So who is going to make sure that whatever I'm going to design in my data center, all components are cross-compatible with each other? So this is the way the VCF takes care of everything. Why we need to have this VCF? If you recently have heard, right, so VMware has partnership with almost all the clouds provided in the market, maybe AWS, Azure, Google, Alibaba, all. And then also we have the VMware provider which runs the VMware cloud within their data center, on which the customer can go and run the application. So if you see here, so the goal from the VMware is that to provide a unified cross-cloud architecture. So whether you want to run within your on-premises, running in the VMware verified cloud, or VMC on AWS, or you want to expand your on-premises to the native public cloud. So this is the architecture where supported from everywhere, from on-premises to VMware certified to AWS or Google or Azure, anywhere. So now customer has option to run the workload whether in the on-premises or anywhere with the same kind of architecture with the help of VCF. VCF, this is the software bill of materials. So where the VMware release, do all the testing and release the version of software that we need to run it within the VCF. As I said, multiple products work together. So you have to do all the testing. You have to do all the cross compatibility between all the products that will work 100% when you deploy within the data center. So this is where the VCF come up with the bill of materials and then provide you the version, product and version that you can combine together to deploy to make your agile data center. The first product comes within the the VCF is SDDC Manager. So SDDC Manager is the I'll say a brain of the VCF, the automation brain within the VCF. So that helps you to automate all the things from day one perspective and day two perspective, right? So that is the manager which helps you to provide all the automation. And then it has all the component portfolio from the VMware, starting from the vSphere, vSAN, NSX, which provide all three vertical of virtualization within the data center: compute, storage, and network. And once you have the core structure ready, then you can go and build the vRealize suite of products on top of that to providing the unified operations, to unify a public cloud level of automation level experience to the customer, your internal customer at the VRA. If you want to have the robust monitoring for your network, you want to have the capacity planning within the data center, so where you can go and then leverage the VROps and the log insight, which helps you to for troubleshooting purpose and also for holding all the logs, providing you a single point of data center or warehouse where you dump all the logs for security purpose or compliance purposes, which auditors can use later on if they want to. So these are the all sort of products comes with the VCF. And on that, VMware also provide the Workspace ONE, which is basically providing the role-based access control and authentication and identity management within the software-defined data center. So as you can see, we are covering every aspect of software-defined data center. We are providing vSphere, vSAN, and NSX in all three verticals of data center. then adding the automation level, adding the operations management, adding the log management, and also providing the identity management for role-based access control so that you can have the unified role-based access control within your software-defined data center. So VCF objectives, why we need VCF? Why VCF? What was the purpose behind the, from the VMware to come up with the one more kind of solution called VCF? So always the VMware enabling customer in their digital transformation journey, right? That is the main priority from the VMware. And if you have seen the right, so if you guys following the VMware, so recently we have acquired so many companies to build our portfolio and then aim to power greater innovation and resiliency for businesses and then excel to an app-driven data center for the customer. That is the main motto behind why we came up with the VCF. And VCF add value by automating and delivering the full software-defined stack in weeks. That is one of the main goal. And not only the accelerating your deployment time, but also providing the giving you quickest value to go to market, right? So instead of taking this 6 months to go and then move it to production, now we can go in production with your new data center within a few weeks. This is the main goal behind the VCF, objective behind the VCF. A VCF follows the same concept as public cloud. So VCF also designed based on the single region or the multi-region design, as if you have connected to any public cloud. So they have same. So when you connect, it asks you, where do you want to provision your VMs or workload? You want to in APJ, or you want in EMEA or US. And then once you go to the respective region, then you have the multiple availability zone where you can choose to deploy your VMs. In APJ, maybe you want to deploy in India, or maybe you deploy in Australia or Singapore, right? So based on that, you can choose the same way. The VCF also following the same architecture, same concept within their architecture model. So customer can choose a single region or region design. Each region can have the single availability zone or can have the multiple availability zone based on the customer requirements. It's up to you how many region and how many AZ you want within the one deployment. That based on the requirement, when you discuss with the customer, then we can decide how to design it. Next will be the vCloud Foundation deployment models. So we'll here talk about how many models the VCF support today. vCloud Foundation supports two models. One is called consolidated architecture and second is called standard architecture. So in a consolidated architecture, that's mainly for the small customer. So which customer, they want to leverage the VMware Cloud Foundation, but they don't have the enough budget to have the larger footprint within the data center. So this is where the VMware provide and then say, hey, you can start with the small, but as you grow, you can grow from small to medium to large, right? So small customer can start with a minimum of 4 nodes within the consolidated architecture, and then can run both management and then workload, VMs within the same workload domain, which is called, consolidated over here, combined together with management and workload. And how we provide the segregation between the management and workload. So we leverage the resource pool from the vSphere to provide the isolation between their workload and management components. But in the second design, where we say standard architecture, which is the recommended from the VMware, and this is mainly used by medium and large customer, which can afford to at least have 7 to 8 ESXi hosts to start with, right? So here in the standard architecture, customer prefer to utilize dedicated resources, not only for their workload, but also because of the role-based access control, because they want to segregate their also access control in terms of management and workload. So then those kind of customer can start with the standard architecture. Standard architecture required a minimum of 4 nodes into the management domain and a minimum of 3 nodes into the VI workload domain. We'll talk later. So as said, so minimum 7 hosts, you can start with the standard architecture. Always is when you go and then design, right? It's always important to correctly size your cluster, right? Because so based on the discussion with the customer, you should know that, right? So how many they are going to load, whether the criteria of the design is performance or consolidation. So based on that, you can design the size of the cluster after discussing with the customer. But yes, minimum requirement to start with the standard is 7 nodes, 4 nodes for management domain, and 3 nodes for workload domain. We can start with the standard architecture. Now, so deployment options within the VCF. So VCF supports today multiple deployment options for customer. So customer, the first option is the single site deployment. So in a single site VCF Cloud Foundation, is most, I'll say, simple form of design where a single site consists of one or more workload domain. And then it can be deployed either as what we discussed as a consolidated design, or it can be as a standard design. So whether you want to go with any kind of design within a single site, you can start with this one. So all the components will be run within the one data center, right? And then whether standard or consolidated. So you have only a single data center. You want to leverage any kind of design, we can start with this one. Second design is that where we say stretch deployment. So where now customer wants to have spread their cluster within 2 data center, so that inbuilt capabilities for the cluster failover or data center failover, right? So this is supported when the customer are trying to build a data between 2 sites, and when the both sites they want to leverage with the vSAN storage, then can be designed for the stretch deployment. And here, so if you are planning to have the stretch deployment, then your management is the first cluster has to be stretched. And then only you can stretch your VI workload domain, because all the management component will be running inside this cluster. So my main priority will be the protect all the management VMs, then only I can protect all the workload, management VMs for the VI or the application VM. So first our cluster will be in a stretch cluster management, and then followed by any other cluster. Third kind of deployment option we have in the VCF is the multi-instances. So multi-instances, if a customer, right, so they have the multiple locations, right, India, Singapore, or US, and they want to have, they decided to go with the VCF. So they have one instance in India, one in Singapore, one in US. So if all are separate instances of VCF, so it means they have to connect individually to manage it. So this is where the VMware came up with the federation with the VCF. So the customer can federate with the VCF, all the VCF design what they have done, and then so that they'll have the single unified management console to manage all their VCF instances. This is similar like what if you have seen the vCenter, enhanced link mode. When you link multiple vCenter together with enhanced link mode, you can connect to any vCenter to manage any kind of infrastructure within those vCenter server. Same way, if you have multiple instances of VCF, then we can have the federation between them, and you can connect between them to have the a single unified management for all the VCF instances. The first domain, when we say, right, so is the management domain. So when we talk about the VCF deployment, the first domain we deploy the management, because where we start the first building your management VMs, which will be able to manage the workload VMs, right? So a management VM, as I said, can start with the 4 nodes minimum, but it can scale up to a maximum of the vSphere, which is 64, right? Can be done. So if customer is starting with the 4 nodes, then we have option. Today, there is a limitation here for the management domain. It's only support a primary storage as a vSAN storage. So for the management domain, you cannot have the primary storage, any other storage. So you have to build your cluster first as a vSAN cluster. And then if you want to use the secondary storage, you can use it, which I'll talk later. I have slides on that. So this is the 4 node with the vSAN ready nodes. You need to have to build your management domain. And then once you bring up the management domain, so with the management domain, bring up the vCenter for the management, NSX managers for the management domain, NSX edges based on your requirement will be deployed. And then also the SDDC manager, as I said, this is the main brain behind the VCF automation, will be deployed with the management bring up. So once your initial bring up is done, then you can go and then add the optional. Is optional wise to optional? Maybe some customer, they don't want to have the full stack of SDDC. So they only want to have the partial, maybe the VROps or maybe the login side. They don't want to have the all component. So based on your requirement, you can add those vRealize suite of products to have the full stack of software-defined data center. And once you have the management domain ready, then we can start building of the VI workload domain where your actual application servers will be running, right? So VCF today is supporting a total 15 workload domains. One is the management, and then 14 can be your VI workload domain. So one management plus 14 VI workload domain can be managed through single VCF design and architecture. Once we have the management domain, the next one is to deploy your workload domain. So workload domains can be, as I said, 14. So you can build a workload domain, 14 different workload domains for different purposes. So it's not compulsory to have the same unified hardware. It's not compulsory. You can buy your hardware based on your choice, based on your budget, based on your capacity, right? And then once you buy the hardware, then we can go and then use the SDDC manager to add a VI workload domain. So whether you want to run a separate isolation between all kind of workload you want to run within data center. So maybe the first VI workload domain I'm building for database. Second, I'm building for desktop. Or third, I'm maybe for infra as service, containers, machine learning. So this is the example given, right? So if you want to have different kind of VI workload to be deployed automatically, and that is ready for the production, it can be done within a few hours with the help of SDDC manager. Once you have deployed your VI workload domains, and then you can say drive, so you can run kind of software. So it's completely supported and ready. It's only depend on the kind of hardware you want to run, the kind of performance you are looking for your application. Depending on that, you can have the infrastructure. And once you have deployed, right? So all the management component, management VMs, right? So two things comes here in the management VMs. For management domain, we discuss vCenter, NSXT manager for management, edges for management, and also the SDDC manager will be running there. And then all the vRealize suite of products will be running there. Apart from that, whenever you build a VI workload domain, so each VI workload domain will bring up with a new set of vCenter server. And all those vCenter server will be running inside the management domain. So as you can see, we have 14 VI workload domain can be configured. So 14 vCenter for all those VI workload will be running inside the management domain. Then NSXT managers. So every management domain, do you want to have the dedicated or shared, which I'll talk. So even if you want to have the dedicated NSX managers for each VI workload domain, so all those NSXT managers will be running inside the management domain, because we have dedicated management cluster to hold all the management VMs to provide segregation between the management and the workload application. Once with all the deployment is done, right? So this is your fully automated private cloud has been built. Now, can I extend my private cloud to public cloud? Can I have the hybrid cloud experience with connecting with any other cloud? Yes, we can do it. This is where we can leverage whether from the VMware SCX or any other product within the market to extend the private cloud to public cloud to make it hybrid connection. If you want to integrate with any other product within the market, right? So we can use, because we support any API integration within the VCF. So we can leverage the API to integrate with that product. So far, we have discussed about only the vSAN storage. So customer asked, right, so is it possible for me to have the FCSAN to use for my maybe database cluster or for the a machine learning or container cluster? Answer is yes. So only limitation is that for management domain, the principal storage will be the vSAN. For all the VI workload domain, you have multiple options to choose. Whether do you want to use the vSAN, you want to use the NFS, or you want to use the FCSAN. All three are supported, so that you can use the external storage within the any VI workload domain. And then if you want to integrate or you want to add the additional capabilities within your private cloud, for example, a load balancer, physical load balancer, right? Or maybe you want to add the multiple layer of firewalling between the data center. So one can be leveraged the NSX micro segmentation to have the first level of packet filtering. But I have worked on a customer where they say, no, I need at least 2 level of filtering. Then we can integrate with the maybe Palo Alto to have the additional level of security within your data center. So all those are possible and completely supported with the VCF design. With the VCF, now the latest version of VCF is 4.0, and then as we saw in a few slides before, that vSphere 7 is part of the VCF 4. So VCF 4 has a little bit change in the design. So if you have worked on the previous version until 6.7, then customer had the option to design whether you want to have the embedded PSC or you want to have the external PSC. But from the 7.0, now we don't have the leverage, because all the use case, any kind of use case you want to work or run within the data center is provided now supported with the embedded PSC. So this is where in the VCF also now will be all the vCenter server, if you are going to maximum with the 15 vCenter server, all the 15 will be deployed as embedded platform service controller. So this is where we are reducing the footprint for your vCenter server. Same way for NSXT manager. So earlier version of a VCF was supporting NSXV as well. So in NSXV, if you have worked on, then there's difference that, right? So management plane and control plane was separate, running separately in the NSXV, which has been integrated within the NSXT. So now NSXT, both management and then control planes runs within the same virtual machine. So this is where we have reduced the footprint. And then third option is that with the VCF 4.0, now you can automate a deployment of edge cluster, which was not the case in 3.9 and upwards. So from the 4.0 now, you can also leverage the SDDC manager to deploy the edge cluster for any kind for all of your VM workload to have the faster deployment of NSX configuration. I have demo for this, so I'll show it later. So this is where how we reduce the footprint for the management VMs, management stack within the VCF. Another change is here that, right, so earlier there was a multiple, now with the 4.0, with the embedded PSC supported, now there will be single vSphere domain. So there will be single SSO domain combining all maximum 15 vCenter server, if you're utilizing the maximum, or if you're 1 or 2, whatever. So all vCenter deployed within the VCF will be running within the single SSO domain. And then that single SSO domain will form a ring topology to maintain all the authentication between all the vCenter server. So now the centralized, the SDDC manager authenticate with the SSO domain. And then if you connect to SDDC manager, you can connect any component from there to have the centralized authentication from the SDDC manager. So this is again enhanced architecture with the VCF 4.0. So once we have done with the management domain, then we can start with building the VI workload domain. So which is where the customer will run the application servers. As you can see at the top of the screen, so we have the management cluster already ready now. So where all the management VMs will run. And as I said, any VI workload domain you deploy, there will be a dedicated vCenter server, which will be running within the management domain. But when you deploy the first VI workload domain, it will also deploy the dedicated NSXT managers for the first VI workload domain. And that will also run within the management cluster. So VI workload domain can start with a minimum of 3 ESXi hosts. If you are going to use the vSAN, then recommended will be to at least start with the 4 nodes of vSAN cluster. And then you have, as I said, you have choice of storage, which kind of storage you want to build for this cluster. You have choice of vSAN, you have choice of NFS, you have choice of FC. So when you configure, when you build, or when you deploy your VI workload domain, you can choose the choice of storage you want to build for this VI workload. Also, earlier version, right, until 6.7, we had only option with the VUM, update manager we have worked on. So update managers helping customer to patching and upgrading only for the ESXi. It was not helping customer to patch on the firmware and the driver for the on the physical server on which the ESXi is running. So this is where to each of the day 2 operations. So with the vSphere 7.0, now we have the vSphere LCM lifecycle manager. which can help customer to also upgrade their firmware and drivers for the physical server. So you can choose when you bring up the VI workload domain. So you can choose whether you want to deploy as a VUM base or VLCM base. So there's only limitation today that, right? So if you are building a VI workload domain for Kubernetes for vSphere cluster, a vSphere for Kubernetes cluster, then only you have to choose the VUM, because today LCM is not supported for Kubernetes. Otherwise, any kind of workload you are building, you can choose the LCM. So LCM can provide you both ESXi level upgrade as well as the firmware and driver level upgrades for the physical server. Now, so we'll quickly walk through. So we have talked about the management domain. We have talked about the VI workload domain. So overall, until maximum level, we will talk. So when you build your management domain, right? So during the initial deployment of Cloud Foundation, which we say bring up, the following VM are deployed, right? So first is your SDDC manager, then your management vCenter server, and then NSX3, NSX-T managers, which will be catered the network construct for your management domain, and then a pair of NSX Edge for providing all the network capabilities for the management domain that will be deployed during the management domain. But when you, and then after that, we go and then deploy the first VI workload domain. So within the first VI workload domain, it will deploy a dedicated vCenter server and a dedicated NSX-T instances within the NSX-T, within the management domain. As you can see on the screen, both VMs has been deployed here within the management domain. And then cluster will be running on, and this cluster will be managed by this vCenter. So next, right, so today, for example, customer has started with 3 ESXi, and tomorrow I want to expand my cluster, or I want to add a new cluster within the same VI workload domain. How can we do it? Do we have automation for that? Yes, SDDC automation can helps you to whether expand the cluster or whether you want to add a new cluster, can be done with the help of SDDC manager. Now, customer deployed a second workload domain, right? So again, as I said, so every workload we have separate vCenter server. But when you deploy the second VI workload domain, then you have choice whether do you want to have the separate NSX-T instance or you want to share the first VI workload NSX-T instances. It's your choice, supported. But in this case, as you can see here, customer decided to deploy a separate NSX-T instances for their second workload domain. And they decided to choose the vSphere Lifecycle Manager based cluster to manage their physical hardware and then ESXi. Now, when we deploy the fourth workload domain, right? So here you can see that customer decided that hey, I have the separate VI workload domain, but I don't want to deploy it of NSX-T managers for my VI workload domain 3. I want to leverage this NSX-T manager, which has been deployed with the VI workload domain I want to leverage. So that will be done. So when you deploy the VI second and then up to 14th VI workload domain, it will give you option to choose whether do you want to deploy the new NSX-T managers or you want to use the existing one. So based on your selection, it can either go and then deploy a new set dedicated for them, or it can with the first VI workload NSX-T instances. And this is the possible. The next question comes: why we need to have the multiple instance of VI workload domain, right? So the purpose is to isolating the operating system. Customer wants to isolate the operating system. I want to have the separate cluster for Linux. I can have the separate for Windows. I can have separate for my desktop, separate for database. So this is one of the use cases you can use to have the multiple VI workload domain. Or customer want to have the separate application running within this different VI workload domain. That can be another use case. Another use case can be the licensing. So you want to draw a boundary that because I'm buying licensing, so I don't want to buy a license for all the ESXi within the cluster. So I start with a smaller cluster so that I can limit my license to be run within that to provide the support for my products for which I bought the license. So those are the use case for which customer can choose how many workload domain you want to have, right? That's the main design perspective, design use cases behind to building the multiple VI workload domains. Then the networking, as I said, is one of the core component of the any data center and then critical part of the any design. So starting from the VCF 3.9, in fact, so VCF support more than 2 physical links. Before 3.9, VCF was only supporting 2 physical links. Or if you were supporting more than that, then you had to go and then run the API call to talk to the SDDC manager to modify their configuration to have more than 2 physical links. That has been simplified because I've worked on many VCF solution for the customer, and then where the customer complaint was that, so why we can't simplify it? Why can't you give me option on a day one in a GUI base that I can go and then choose how many VDS I want to use, how many physical link I want to choose, right? So this has been simplified with the VCF 4.0. So from 4.0, when you do the management bring up or the VI workload domain, you have option to choose how many NIC do you want to use it, right? There can be different use case why you want to have multiple NIC to choose, but now you have the option to choose and then simplified to that, whether you want to go with the 1 VDS, you want to go with 2 VDS or 3 VDS, up to 6 physical NICs supported now with the VCF, both either in the workload domain, management or workload. Question, why we need to have more than 2, right? The simplest option I'll say in VCF is to have 2 physical links. If you see today, right, so physical servers are coming with the 25 GB, easily coming with 25 GB. So if a customer is saying 25 is enough for my all kind of workloads, then better to go with the 2 physical links. But maybe some customers are saying, no, I need to have, maybe the bandwidth is okay, but I need to have the isolation between my traffic, right? So how can I achieve with the help of only 2 physical links? So this is where we can have the additional requirement, additional use case to apply the multiple use case or use multiple physical PNICs. Within that, one can be of, unique customer need additional bandwidth, right? More than 25 GB, then we have to use the multiple physical links. They want to tune their performance. They want to isolate it. Then we have to go with the multiple physical links to isolate it. Customer, maybe I said, right, so I want to have multiple kind of storage. vSAN is already there, but apart from that, I want to use the NFS. I want to use the iSCSI. So I want to isolate it, traffic from the vSAN. So this is where we can go and then use the multi-PNIC design for the VCF. And especially in the government agency, right? So I've worked on multiple projects where the government agency says, completely I have to isolate, because when they design, they have multiple compartments. They say, this is my internal compartment, this is my internet compartments, internet and intranet compartments. So I want to also have the physical segregation between the internet and intranet. So this is where the multiple PNICs come into the picture to provide you the capabilities to have completely a separate connectivity until top of rack to have the segregation between the internet and intranet compartments for your design. So this is a use case where you can use more than 2 physical NIC if you wish to, if you want to. So next is, right, so far we have discussed about the deployment models, the designing prospects of the VCF, right? How you want to design, you want to go with single, you want to, a region, you want to go to a single AZ within the region, or you want to have the multiple AZ within the region, right? So then how to build up the management domain, right? So this is where the VMware supply you a call bring up sheet, which can be downloaded from the VMware website. And then within that, this sheet can be useful for deploy or bring up your management domain. So this is what I have downloaded for you. So you can see this is the 4.0.1. You can download from the VMware website. And then you have to manually verify, first of all, the prerequisites for the VCF deployment. So when you download, right, so by default, the settings here will be not complete, right? So it's red. And if any field is red, it means your validation for the bring up will fail. So you have to manually validate and then come over here and then say, hey, I have done this. So I have validated manually. So all those requirements has to be done before starting of the management domain. And then you have to come and then say verified, and then all verified, then you can move to the next tab. Where the second tab, where it is basically give you the overview of all the components of the specs of the management VMs going to deploy for you. the name of the vCenter server, name of the NSXT managers, the name of the SDDC manager, name of the edges you're going to deploy. What is the spec of the each VM going to configure for you, CPU, memory, and the disk size for each VMs. And on this sheet, you have to enter the license key for ESXi, vSAN, NSX, and then SDDC manager. So it can be, while they do it, so automatically that can be configured licensing also for you, so that you can put a license over here for SDDC manager to apply the licenses. As you know, when you deploy any component of VMware, we have a local users within the product. So, and you have to supply the password for local user while you install it. So this is where I'm supplying all the password in advance in the Excel sheet. So when they'll go and then deploy it, they'll use this password to install the ESXi or install the vCenter server, install the NSX components, install the SDDC manager, right? So you have all the license passwords here. This is one of the main tab, I'll say, where you have to define all the host and networks. What is the network type I want to have, right? So this is the minimum you need to have. You need to have the management network for your vSphere, vMotion traffic, vSAN traffic. That is all are on the VLAN base. Then you also need to, because I want to go run the overlay NSX. So you need to have the tip IP for each ESXi, tip IP for your NSX edge, which we say overlay. Then you have to define which VLAN I want to use for these type of traffic. What is the name of the port group you want to see within your vCenter server? What is the network notation you have identified, you have designed or confirmed for your these type of network, then you can define over here. And then what is the gateway? And then MTU you want to configure with all those components, all those network port groups that you can define over here. Then you can define, I said management can start with the 4 nodes. So if you have only 4 nodes, you can give 4 nodes. If you have more, you can give them more nodes, it's possible. Then this is the IP address you want to VCF to configure during the bring up for the ESXi management, which is the VMK0. What is the IP is going to be for vMotion? What is the IP going to be for vSAN? That you can do it. Another portion is that if you want to have to make sure that the software ESXi is installing is accurate, then you can enable this thumbprint to verify. So if the thumbprint is not matching, it will fail it, right? So that can be also done. So that you have to mention here thumbprint, it can be done. And then what I want to discuss more is that profile. This is what you can see in 0.1. So you can choose with the profile 1. So where it says, when you choose the profile 1, it can deploy with the 1 VDS with either 2 NIC or 4 NICs. How to define 4 NICs? So now you can see here 2 NICs are there, and then you can go and then define the second VNIC name here. I'm just giving example. So comma like that. So it will be there. Because now you have decided to go with the profile 1, which will only deploy the single VDS. That's why error is giving me that why you have given the name second VDS name. So you have to put here NA, so it will clear the error, right? Or if you want to go with the segregate the traffic, VLAN traffic with overlay traffic. So as I said, this is the best option for customer to go with the profile 2, where it can go with the 2 VDS and 4 PNIC. 2 PNIC attached with each of the VDS. So first a VDS will carry all the VLAN based traffic, which is management, vMotion, vSAN. And then second, a VDS will carry only the overlay traffic, whether it's edge overlay or host overlay, edge overlay, and uplink from the pairing between the virtual data center to your physical data center. So based on your requirement, you can choose the profile, and then once you have decided, then you can move on to the next tab, which is the deployment parameters option. This is the sheet where you have to give all the details, right? Which a VCF will use during the management bring up. DNS name, NTP name, or what is the name of the vCenter you want to have. Size of the vCenter, you can change it, whether you want a small or you want extra large, you have to decide it. What is the IP I want to configure with? The name of the data center, name of the cluster we want to configure within the vCenter server. And then also the name of the NSXT components you want to have, size of the NSXT component you have, you can choose within this sheet. And whatever is your answer, based on this answer, this will go and then bring up your management domain. As you can see here, this is for the edge details. So my edge name 1 is this, what all the IP address will be configured for edges, edge 2 IP configured for a second edge. And then it will also form the edge cluster, forming the 2 edge run as a cluster. So to provide the high availability for the edge, if once goes down, second will take over. Then also you have to provide all the BGP peering details, right? So that these all appearing on physical side has to be done before we start the management bring up from the VMware perspective. So they have decided that I'm going to use this is my autonomous number on the physical side, and this is the password I'm going to use. This is my uplink IP on my physical server that VMware team has to use when they pair with my physical. So that can be configured over here. And then also with the VBD design, because as we discussed, right, so on top of the management core component, we can add the vRealize suite of products. So where we have the multiple products to connect. So based on the VBD, it's recommend to have the two logical switch deployed with the management deployment. One can be region A specific, local, and the one can be a cross region specific, right? So we'll discuss why across, why local later, but those logical switch will be created for you. It will be connected to the NSX component. It will have the east-west routing. It will have north-south routing based on the provided details. Right? When all these details has been done and formed, then we are ready to start with the management domain bring up. So this is where, so once we have done, then this comes where you go and then start deploying your management, initialize the deployment of the management domain. So VMware for management domain, right? So also VMware giving you another automation bundle, another VMs with the automated way to deploy it is called Cloud Builder VM. Again, it's OVA, so you can download. So you have to download two things from the VMware website if you want to go with the VCF. One is this parameter sheet, and second is the Cloud Builder appliances. This is around 30 GB files you have to download from the VMware website, and then it can be deployed either on ESXi or it can be deployed on your laptop. There's nothing restriction way to deploy it. Just what I need connectivity from here, from this VM, the Cloud Builder VM, to your management network running on the ESXi. So once you have done it, then you start your Cloud Builder VM. As soon as you start, it will ask you a few questions. It will ask you to upload these files. And once you have uploaded, it will go and then do all the validation. If all the validation succeeded, it will go and then do the management domain, bring up what you can see at the right. So it will go and then deploy the, configure all the port group on the ESXi. It will deploy the vCenter. It will configure the vSAN for you. And then it will deploy SDDC Manager, NSXT component, NSX edges, and then also configure the, tier 1, tier 0, and then for you, and also the BGP appearing between the virtual to physical. So within this initial deployment for management take around 3 to 4 hours. Right. So if all the prerequisites has been configured, and correctly, then it can go and finish in one time. I have done customer where it took me a few times failed. Then I go and then work with the network team to fix it and then retry again. Or I have also done a deployment where in one go, because one go all prerequisites were done properly. So in one go it went and then all the way it finished my deployment for management within 3 hours. So this is the management domain bring up. So I have a demo for this. I'll show you how it is done. Now, so once you, this is the high level design for the management domain. So when we done it, how it's designed the network for management domain. So those you can see here. So all those IP address networks we supplied within the parameter sheet. And based on that, it will go and then configure those management, vMotion, vSAN, and NSX step. Based on the naming we have provided, it will configure the 2 edge node, then configure the cluster, edge cluster for that. And then based on the logical switch details we have given, it will deploy 2 logical switches for you. And then tier 1 will be providing the east-west routing between, within the data center. And then tier 0, which will be providing the north-south routing from the virtual to physical and paired with your physical data center. And the tier 1 is also going to leverage for the any load balancer. For example, you are adding the VROps, multi-node VROps. So then we recommend to run the multi-node always behind the load balancer. So the LB will be configured on tier 1 that will be used by your VROps. LB will be used on tier 1 that can be used by your VRA, because if you want to deploy the a VRA, multi-node VRA, then you need to run behind the load balancer. You want to have the multi-clustered workspace 1. to have the identity management, then you need to have the load balancer. So tier 1 will be providing here the load balancing capabilities as well as the east west routing, and then tier 0 will be providing north south routing for the data center. And this design is basically will be configured as an ECMP, equal cost multipathing. So both uplink will be up and running active, so that it will provide the multiple path for workload from data center to going out, or coming from outside to inside. So this is the high level design for NSX for management domain. So now we discuss about the single site, single AZ. But a few customers I have done that where they say, hey, I want to deploy a stretch cluster. So I have 2 AG within the same region. I want to stretch my management cluster from the another set of hardware. So this is once you have the first set of up and running, then only we can go and then deploy the ESXi into the AZ2, equal number of ESXi, same version of ESXi as compatible with the VCF. And then once we have deployed the ESXi, we have to fulfill all the requirement of vSAN. Right, so vSAN need a witness on third side, so you have to deploy the witness on third side, and then we need to have the routing between the witness to DC data center A, between the data center B, and between these two also. So once we have done all the prerequisite issue done, then we can leverage again SDDC manager to go and then stretch the vSAN cluster to have the single cluster stretching 2 AZs. So that you can see here, if my AZ1 fails. If the AZ1 fails, all workload will automatically move by vSphere HA on AZ2, and then will up and running in a few minutes and establish connectivity from the physical to world. There is a few additional requirement for NSX perspective. If you're running the vSAN stretch cluster, so you can see we have already designed and deployed my AZ1, all the NSX component. So nothing has to be changed from the NSXT perspective. If customer is having the management domain, which is going to be active standby, right? If customer they want to have the NSX design active, then you have some custom manual work to have the active design for NSX. But if the customer is saying this cluster is only meant to run the management, I'm okay with the active standby design, the only thing that we can simplest way is that we can stretch all those 4 VLAN which are being used by the NSX edge for uplinks, right? For management perspective, the edge uplink 1 is uplink 2, and then overlay stretch over the VLAN between the AZ and AZ2, that's it. So once AG, for example, edge running over here in AZ1, if edge complete DC fails, so those 2 edge, the edge will be rebooted on the DC2. And this network is automatically stretched. So when the VM will come up over here, they can retain the same IP address, and they can form the connectivity from the top of the rack. And once they are done, and with the help of BGP, they'll be redistribute the new routes, and then once it's paired, it will start sending within the few seconds. So this is the vSAN. This design is for active standby. But if your customer is looking for active, then you need to talk to the guy who is designing for you, then how they can go and then provide you active design for NSX. Once you have done the, if customer they want to have the multiple stretch cluster for their VI workload domain also, so once you have the management done, then you can go and then do the stretch cluster for your VI workload domain. It is okay to run a combination of both. If you want to have the stretch multiple stretch VI workload domain or multiple standard, both are fine, right? It's based on your requirement. Keep adding VI workload domain, whether it's AZ1, AZ2, or you want to have the stretch between AZ1 and AZ2. It's all up to you based on the requirement can be done. Now, the last portion we will discuss is the how to design the edge. So far, we have only designed the edge for the management domain. How to design the edge for your the workload domains, right? So this is where, right? So SDDC manager will be used to deploy the edge clusters for your VI workload domain. Now, it is the customer or the architect who is designing it. They need to talk to the customer. How do you want to design it? Do you want to have the local NSX edges in each cluster if you have multi-cluster workload domain, or you want to have the single edge in a workload domain and then can be shared by the multiple clusters? So based on the requirement, based on the discussion, you can discuss with the customer, you can decide it. So in the example, you can see here, customer decided for the workload domain 1, I'm going to have the single edge cluster, which is running in cluster 1. And these 2 nodes will be also providing the network construct for cluster 2. It's possible and it's supported. But in the second use case here, customer is saying, no, I need to have the dedicated edge nodes in the locally within the each cluster, right? So we can go and do it. So it's up to the customer how they want to flow their traffic, whether they want to share or they want to have dedicated, we can design it, all supported. For this, I'll jump on the demo. For the first, I'll go through the management domain bring up, then VI workload, and also I have for the NSX page. The demo I'm going to share is publicly available. I can share the link. So you guys, if you want, you can go and also take a look after wherever you want. So you can see here, as I said, so for management bring up, so 2 things that I have to do. I have to download the Cloud Builder VM, which I can deploy on any of the ESXi or anywhere on my laptop. Also, I can deploy it workstation. Just I need the connectivity between the ESXi management and then this Cloud Builder VM. So here I have deployed my Cloud Builder VM. So I'm going to my UI and then connecting to my Cloud Builder VMs. So it will ask you to provide the username and the password, right? So which is the local admin is the user that you need to supply it. So as soon as you log in, it will start that it will initiate the deployment of the management domain, right? So first thing, accept your agreement, license agreement. Next, now VCF support can be deployed either on the vSAN ready node, or it's also supported to deploy on the VxRail, right? So if you are deploying on the normal vSAN, you can choose the first option. If you're deploying on the VCF on VxRail, then you have to select the second option, because the little bit it will change in the perspective how they do it. So in my case, I'm going to choose the VCF, which is the normal vSAN nodes. So I'll choose that. Next. This is the prerequisite. It's same thing what we done in the prerequisite Excel sheet, right? So manually we did verified. Same thing is asking, have you done all this work? I said, yes, I have done it. You select yes, and the next. Next, it will ask you to download. If you have, you can download the file from the VMware portal, or you can also download from here, right? So I said, yes, already downloaded. I have that. And then second is that, have you completed your parameter sheet? I said, yes, I have done it, right? Then say, if you have completed, then upload over here. So you can upload the same file with all the details provided over here. So once you have done it, then it will go and then validate all the settings you have provided, whether this is fine or not. For example, DNS entry, right? So it will go and then say, check the DNS entry is done or not. It will go and then check the SSH has been enabled on each ESXi or not, because that is the prerequisite for the VCF. So once all succeeded, then we go next. And then it will ask you to deploy. So once you click, you cannot cancel it. So you deploy it and sit for 3 hours if there's no issue while they do it all the steps. If there is any issue, it will stop there. Then you have to go and then again remediate it. And then best part is that it will again after remediate start from the same place where it failed. So you can come on the same page and option will be retry, click retry, and it will go and then start from the same place. So it will take around 3 to 4 hours for a deploy. As you see, so many things to do it in backend. So it will go and then finish for you. And then once all done, then you can say deployment of the VCF is successful. So once you finish, then it will give you the URL of your SDDC manager to connect it, right? So this is how the management domain can be built up. Now, once we have the management domain done, then second will be, you can see here, management cluster done with the 4 ESXi host, and then is here. Next will be that how can I go and then add the VI workload domain, right? That will be the next step for me. So you go to the SDDC manager. So this is the SDDC manager UI. So it's showing the management domain first. Here is the management domain already deployed. And then you can see all the details, whatever you want to see over here. And then later you can go and then see the host, because before starting your VI workload domain, you have to commission the ESXi, which we are going to use for the VI workload domain. So those ESXi hosts, which you want to use for your VI workload domain, you can see from here as unassigned under the host tab. So if you come here And then you can see there are multiple ESXi hosts showing here are unassigned, right? So which I'm going to use for my deployment, right? So unassigned tab you can go and also see from there, or all tabs also you can see is showing the assigned and unassigned. So once you can see that ESXi which we are going to use for workload domain, then we can go to the workload domain and then click here workload domain and say add VI workload or VI infrastructure. So as I said, so now with the 4.0 and onwards, we have multiple options to select for storage. Whether you want to build your VI domain based on the vSAN, you want to deploy based on the NFS or based on the FCSAN, you can choose, right? So for this example, I'm choosing the vSAN based VI workload domain. It will, and then it will ask you all those questions. What is the name of the workload domain, name of the organization? As I discussed, you can choose whether you want to build a VUM-based workload domain or you want to base the VLCM, the lifecycle manager, right? So in this example, I'm going to use the enable the VUM-based workload domain. Then you have to give the cluster name. What is the name of the cluster I want to add within the vCenter server? And then you have to provide the IP address name of the vCenter server. As I said, for every VI workload domain, there will be the separate vCenter server. So you provide the name, IP address, password for the vCenter server. Then you have to provide the overlay network for your NSXT managers, right? So which you are going to use it. And then you have to provide the 3 NSXT managers names, IP addresses, because this is the first VI workload domain I'm going to deploy now. So for first VI workload domain, there will be separate vCenter server as well as a 3 NSXT manager for first VI workload domain. So you have to enter the details for all 3 NSXT managers, IP addresses, and password which you want for your NSXT managers. Once it's done, then you can choose the vSAN because we chosen, right? So vSAN is going to be vSAN based cluster. So what is the going to be FTT for the vSAN? We can choose over here. And then once you, so this is where I need to select the ESXi. I want to build my VI cloud. So which ESXi is going to form a cluster, right? So for this demo, we are selecting the 4 ESXi hosts to make a 4-node cluster. And then this is where, right? So before deploying the VI, license must be edited, added to the SDDC manager, because without license, you can't proceed from here. So you need to add license for NSXT managers, vSAN, and vSphere. I have a customer always keeps asking question, right? Because the VCF has a maximum scalability up to 15 VI workload domain, and each VI can have their own vCenter server. So customer asking, do I need to buy the 15 vCenter licenses? Answer is no. So only one license will be applicable for all 15 vCenter servers, right? So you don't have to invest multiple licenses or for multiple licenses. So you just need to buy the one license, and then that one license will be applicable for all the 15 vCenter server if you're going with the maximum scale of the VCF. Once you have selected the licenses, next, review all the settings for your VI workload domain. Once it's done, click next, finish, and within the 30 to 40 minutes, it will go and then finish the VI workload domain deployment for you, right? So as you can see, it started creating the domain workload 001, and then you can go and then see here all the tasks is performing, right? You can see it's multiple series of tasks is doing, right? Because it has to deploy the vCenter, it has to deploy, configure all the port groups on the ESXi, it has to prepare the ESXi for NSXT, and then also add to the NSXT to the vCenter server, creating the edge node. This is for node. So those tasks will be performed automatically through the SDDC manager here. We have done everything except the edge node deployment, which you have to initiate separately, right? So for VI workload domain, when we do the management, it's done automatically with the details provided in the bring up sheet. But for VI workload domain, then it's only deploy the VI 2 components, vCenter and the NSXT managers, which you can connect from here. If you now go to the host tab, you can see that cluster has been configured workload cluster, and those ESXi which earlier showing the unassigned, now it will show assigned to the. There's no more here now. All are assigned has been to the VI workload domain. You can go to the all hosts. Right? So if you go to the vCenter now and refresh the vCenter, Now you can see there are multiple vCenter because all will be configured. Both the vCenter will be configured as a single SSO domain, and then both can be seen from the single UI. Right. This is my management vCenter server, and this is my management clusters. You can go to the data store. This is the vSAN data store using for management, as well as the VI workload domain. We are also using management vSAN data store. So this is what we have done, the VI workload domain deployment. Now, before going to start moving this cluster to production, right? So I have to configure the NSX so that we can go and then configure the logical switches for the application going to run within this cluster. This is where my third demo will be. How can we go and then do the edge deployment for the VI workload domain, right? So when you connect to the SDDC manager, right, and then we can see this is my workload domain for which I want to deploy the edge cluster. Just click on over here, go to action. You can see here three options: add cluster, as edge cluster, or you can delete the domain, right? Can be performed. So now I have build up the one VI workload domain with single cluster. Tomorrow you want to add another cluster, so you can choose the first option, add cluster. But now I'm going to add an edge cluster. Same thing, you have to finish all the prerequisite for NSX and then select here and begin. It will ask for the cluster name for the edge. I said there will be 2 edge deployed, and then you have to give the cluster name. MTU, you want to configure on that. What is the name of the tier 0 you want to configure? And then what is the name of the tier 1 you want to configure that you have to supply over here. And then you have to choose the edge profile in be done. And then once you have select that, you have to give the password for the edges. Once the password has been supplied for edge, all the multiple, so there are 2 users by default configured locally on the NSX edge. One is root, 3 users, root, admin, and then audit. You can't create additional users. So this is the only users can be done here, right? So for which purpose I want to configure this cluster? What is the size of the edge I want to have? I want to have a small, I want to have medium. You can select it. For this example, I'm selecting this small. I just said, so do you want to deploy your tier 0 as an active standby? Tier 1 always active standby. It doesn't support active, right? But tier 0 can be run either in active or active standby. So based on your design, based on your requirement, you can select it. Because by default, it's support ECMP. So ECMP can be only supported on active tier 0. This is why active. And then I'm using the BGP for this bearing. You have to give the edge node. There will be 2 edge deployed cluster. So provide the edge node, provide the TIP VLAN IP address, TIP IP address, the VLAN number. Choose the cluster where you want to deploy. So I'm going to deploy this edge cluster within the workload cluster 1. And then once you have done it, okay, give me a second. Yeah. You supplied for the uplink details. I said, so every edge node has a 4 uplink. So you have to give all the details for all the 4 uplinks for the edge. Once you have done it, then it will. So this is for now, I'm only providing the details for the edge 1, right? Then you have to give the details for the edge 2, right? Because we are going to deploy the 2 edge, because I'm going to configure the edge cluster. So this is details for edge 1. So I have added here, and then I want to add another edge with the same set. You have to supply again details for the second edge nodes. Once you supplied all the details, right? So you can, once you have provided the details, just click at add, same way what we have done for the first node. Now we can see we have 2 nodes added here that is going to form a cluster, right? So click next. This is time to see all the details. If you want to modify something, go back and modify. If everything is fine, then we can go and then click next to proceed to deploy. So once you click next here, it will go and then validate all the settings what you have entered here, right? So it will be the first validation. It will take some time to validate. Once all the validations succeeded, then it will go and then finish the deployment of the edge cluster within the NSX. Okay, just finish. So we can see here. So it's adding the edge cluster here. You can click and then you can see the progress bar, right? So what are the tasks they're performing? So this is my third demo. Right, so you see it's pairing, all those done. Once it's finished, then we can go in the vCenter, and then you can see that your the VI workload cluster will have the 2 VMs up and running, which will be the providing all the east to west and north south network for your VI workload domain. So so I'm connecting now to VI workloads NSXT manager, and then this is the slow. Yeah, so we can see the transport figure. So there are 2 nodes has been prepared over here, right? And then if you go to the NSX edge cluster, it will show that right so edge cluster has been configured over here. So 2 edge up and running, all are success, all are up, and then status is also up and up for both the nodes. If you go to the networking, then you can see here topology. Now this is the new with the NSX 3.0 where it can show end-to-end topology, how it is connected. You can see here how my tier 0 is connecting the ESX and all those details. You can go to the overview to configure it, and then this is my tier 0 has been configured. The one tier 0 has been configured here, and then you can go and then see the BGP peering has been done for this one based on the details we have provided. So there will be 2 peering because we provided 2 uplink details. So 2 peering has been done and then up and running over here. So this is showing established, and this is the milliseconds time is showing, right? So how long it has been established, the BGP peering between the physical. Right, that was the demo for the 3. Okay, this is the end for my presentation. Sorry guys, I took maybe 20 more minutes.
No props, Roshan. So it was really a wonderful session. We have a couple of questions in Q&A section. If you can look into this and if you can answer either in chat window or through the voice communication, so that would be great for you. So we can extend for 10 more minutes here.
Yes. Yeah, let me see. Can we have a cloud via VCF? Ajit, right? So Ajit, today the roadmap. So today if you the vCloud director within the VCF. So VCF can be only build the SDDC, but it cannot automate the director. So you have to manually do the design and deploy for vCloud director. But yes, within maybe 12 months to 15 months, so BU is working on that. So you'll have in the future the VCF also automated deployment of cloud director for VCF. The next question is from, we have recently bought a few VxRail nodes and plan to add them into existing vCenter having many power nodes. Can we deploy VCF? Okay, as we said, right, so VCF is only for greenfield deployment. As of today, it's not support the brownfield. So if you have existing data center and you want to introduce this, it's not possible. It's not supported today. Again, I said it's in roadmap because there are so many customers asking the same question. We integrate with my existing data center as to VCF to use the automation layer for my existing as well as the new environment. The question is yes, but not today. Maybe in the future you will see that the VCF will also support the brownfield. But today it's only supporting the greenfield deployment. I can only see 3 questions. No, 4th one, yeah. Multi-region design, does vSAN stretch cluster to be used? No, the vSAN can be only stretch between the region. vSAN cannot stretch between the region. So if you want to have the vSAN, it's within, limitation is within the region only. You can have the multi-region within the multi-AZ within the region, and then only you can use that. It's not supported the vSAN switch between the region. And then NSXT Federation, a good question. This is again a very hot question coming and going to BU. So until NSXT 4.0.1, NSX Federation is not supported, right? So it is coming maybe by the end of this year, we'll have the NSXT Federation with the VCF. But yeah, if you want to leverage the manually, if you want to stretch, you have designed a multiple vCenter, a multiple data center, and you want to stretch that, a few your construct, then we can manually go and then, have the global managers to stretch your NSX construct within the regions. That's manually, but not automated supported today. To have the workload domain management VM such as it is Chetan, right, asking it is recommended to have the workload domain management domain VM such as NSXT manager and vCenter on its workload domain cluster itself. I didn't get was trying to ask Chetan, but as I said, right, so management domain is meant to only hold all the management VMs, and the workload domain will be holding all your application, and also only it will be holding your edge VMs which you are configuring for providing the network construct for that particular cluster or via workload domain. The rest, all management VMs will be running into the management cluster. Yes, Neeraj Gupta is asking question because of time I didn't finish my slides, so I got a slide here. So this is the next slide will answer your question, lifecycle management. So basically, see, now we have multiple components. Right? So I'll quickly jump. So SDDC manager can also provide you to have the day 2 operations. How can I go and upgrade my ESXi, vCenter, vSAN, and NSX? That can be provided, right? As we can design up to multiple workload domain, right, including the management. So you have option to schedule. You have option to plan your upgrade based on the a downtime you have secured from your management, secured from your application owner. And based on that, you can do either you want to go with the full-fledged one bang, or you want to have the cluster-wise within the workload domain, or you want to multiple clusters. So based on your convenient, you can schedule or you can run to upgrade each cluster separately. It's not that you have to go in one big bang. It's up to you how you want to schedule. It's up to your a schedule, or this is your management window. How many months do you have to finish all the work? Based on that, you can decide it. Okay, what is the next? In a new VCF, I wanted to know more about PNIC limitation, VCF. As I discussed today, so a PNIC, right? So there are 6 PNIC supported. So 4 can be done through the UI, right? But if you need to have the use the all 6 PNIC, then maybe you have to use the API call to the again SDDC manager to use that. But as I said, up to the profile 1 and profile 2 can be do. Profile 3 can be also done, but profile 3 also support only the 4 uplink. So it can be a 2 VDS, 4 uplink. If you want to go with the maximum PNIC, then you have to do the API call to modify to have the 6 PNIC configuration. How node expansion of VC management cluster can be done? Yeah, same way, right? So when you go to the way I did for VI workload. So when you select in SDDC manager the management domain, and then you select the cluster. So there you can see this option is called add host. So there will be 2 options, add cluster and add host. So you can choose to expand the cluster within the management domain. So nothing will be done once you have the VCF up and running. So nothing will be done manually from the vCenter. Any from the expansion perspective or the or deletion perspective. So all will be performed from the SDDC manager, because the SDDC manager maintaining everything in the database. So you have to perform only from there. How does are discovered before build start? A good question. So if you're using the vSAN node, right? So you can maybe ask the partner to pre-embed the ESXi, or before starting the management, right? So when you deploy the Cloud Builder VM, so Cloud Builder VM can also help you to images your ESXi host, right? So you can, before starting that, you can power up the SDDC, Cloud Builder VM From there, you can go and then upload the ESXi image to the Cloud Builder VM, and then Cloud Builder VM can go and then install ESXi on one go on as many ESXi you want. So first you have to install ESXi, then only you can do bring up, right? So whether you are installing manually or you can use the Cloud Builder to imagine ESXi, it's up to you. But before starting the management domain bring up, you have to install the ESXi. Can VCF deletes unassigned ESXi host through they are not connecting to vCenter? As I said, unassigned host is not in production, so it's called commission host. So you can decommission host any point of time. It's not assigned, right? For example, I have bought a 4 ESXi host. I have added to my SDDC manager, and it will go by default in the unassigned list. And then if you don't want to use for future use, right? So somehow you drop your idea. So you can go and then say a decommission from there. So it will from the SDDC manager database. Workflow task fails to run. Is there an option to break the workflow instead of task? Again, if you want to break the workflow, so it is not so easy for you to do it. Then you have to engage the the VCF engineering to do that, right? So if you completely want to destroy that, you don't want to proceed from there, right? So you have to engage them to clean up the database, and then only can be done.
Is it done?
Yeah, I already answered. So
Okay.
I think I have almost done.
All right. So thanks everyone for joining this session. If you have still any question which is unanswered, you can send out to delhi@vmug.com, or you can also reach out to Twitter handle of Roshan. So we'll share the details. Raminder, Varun, Sahil, do you have anything to add on?
No, nothing. We just want to thank Roshan. Roshan, thank you so much, and we want to thank all the community members for staying long. We did overshoot this this session, but I think it was quite interesting, and it went on. Roshan just kept going with the flow and answered all the questions. So thank you, Roshan, for that. And
No problems.
just share your feedback to all the community members. Do let us know how you found the session. And write your feedback at delhi@vmug.com, and let us know what all do you want to see, or what kind of sessions do you want to see. Keep engaging us, and over to the rest of the members if anybody wants to say anything. Varun or...
No, I think